Okay, so hello and welcome back to another Unity tutorial. In this one I'm going to be doing my final kind of showcase of my game before I release it publicly in the next few days. I plan on doing that anyway. And also once I've released it I will then be updating it over those days, so if I'm giving the download via like Google Drive or some cloud thing, then obviously I'll update it as I go along and then people have to, re-download the new version. But anyway, more about that in the Discord server over the next few days. If you haven't already joined, then obviously go ahead and do that. So I'm going to be showing some systems of my game and a bit of the code, and then if people want to know about specific things that I do in this and how to go about doing it, then obviously feel free to message me. There's plenty of like different series that I do on my channel that I want to keep going, and obviously if I can only feasibly do about one video a day and then obviously work on my own thing, school and everything, people just need to be patient. So obviously everyone's spamming Discord bots, and I will get around to that, but I want to plan some stuff out before I get to do it. But in terms of Unity, I've got the FPS project, which I'm going to continue doing. Obviously it's New Year, so Happy New Year, and hopefully it's back to normal now. I'm not going out anywhere doing stuff like celebrations anymore, so that's all over with. So yeah, this video is going to be showing some new systems I've done, some of the code for it, and if you want to know anything, just feel free to ask and I'll make videos on that. But there is the FPS tutorial series and just the general Unity videos as a whole, so I'm going to continue with everything as we go into this year. Anyway, enough blabbering. So thank you to my Patreons. Thanks to Michael, Paul Robinson, Fulbaum and Wesley for their donations on Patreon. If anyone else would like to help support, then the link is in the description below. So I'll just close that actually. Also, yeah, one of my New Year's resolutions is to start like properly editing videos, and hopefully I get an intro soon enough so they might look a bit more professional. That won't be instantly, but over the next few weeks or month or so, let's see. So what have I done since last time? Well, I've changed the kind of movement of the game. It used to be you would walk in a direction of your keys, so W moves forwards and S you turn around and walk forwards towards the camera, but now I've made it so you walk backwards. Now I haven't got like proper backpedaling animations. I haven't done too much of animations. I've just made it basically so you're always looking in the direction that you're facing with the camera. Obviously, yeah, the animations aren't great, but they work. I'm not too fussed about the quality of the animation yet. I would just rather get everything working. But the point is, yeah, you're always looking in this direction, and the reason for that is because when you're like attacking, for example, and like using a bow, for example, you want to be able to aim by looking in a direction. You don't want to, for example, be aiming at this guy and walking backwards and have to like turn around. It'd be a bit awkward. So you're always facing what you want to hit. And the benefit to that is if I pick up the bow and I go and equip it, I've now got my bow equipped. Obviously, yeah, the animation isn't great. Notice how when I've got the bow equipped, the difference is the character actually like looks where I'm looking. So if I look up, it goes up, and if I look down, it goes down. If I unequip the bow, then he doesn't do that. So it's only when you're using something that you aim with. And the benefit to that is I can actually like aim where I'm looking. If I hold right click, this is all still not perfect, but the main thing is I need to move my spellcaster either permanently or when I'm using the bow, because you can still see, especially if you're moving to the side, but it gets in the way a little bit. The point is you can aim, and if I pick up some arrows, well, first of all, if I try shooting without arrows, I get a little error notification thing I've like popped up. So if you try and do something that you can't do, I've wrote like custom messages for all the things. I've given the error thing quite a bit of sarcasm just because I thought it'd be funny. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. I might keep that. So yeah, I've picked up some arrows, the blue ones, as you see here, just the basic arrows. So currently what happens is when I try and shoot my bow, it'll just go and find the first arrows it finds when it's looping through the inventory. But my plan soon is to add, so that when you've got the bow equipped, you'll be able to see on the UI, maybe up here, like as in up here, or somewhere, I'll have a little thing showing the current selected arrow, and you can use the mouse scroll wheel to scroll through the different arrows you've got. So obviously at the moment, I'll pick up both of them. We've got the fire arrows as well. If I shoot, so obviously I can just shoot like this. Yes, the moving with the bow isn't perfect, but it's still alright. You can aim wherever you want, and I can let go and it fires off the arrow, and as you see, the arrow stuck into it and did damage, and it goes after a certain amount of seconds. I can't remember how many seconds I made it. I think it was like 10 seconds. And then if you hold right click, it's just the same, but you're zoomed in. I've actually got the bow to like pull back, but there's no arrow in the bow currently. Obviously I could do that, but it's just visual things. I don't want to waste time at the moment doing visual things when I plan on getting my prototype out. I just want stuff to work. And obviously I can care about visuals later. The point is if I hold right click, it zooms in, and then if I hold, let go, it zooms out. And as I run out of these arrows, so now I think I've run out. I've got one more, so I shoot one more, bang. So now these arrows are the fire arrows, which they're meant to apply a fire damage over time. And I haven't, one of my next things to do, this is one thing I plan on doing before I release the game, is to make the like status effect handler that handles, you know, damage over time, slows, just all the effects that get applied for a temporary amount of time. I need to do that. So currently the arrows just deal damage. So shoot and fire. Obviously, yes, they have nice particles, but that's it. They don't actually apply any burn damage. The only awkward thing about actually firing the bow right now is this spellcaster getting in the way. It's just a bit annoying, so I will obviously move that before I release the game. But like I said, this thing that I'm releasing in a few days' time, or less than a week, I plan on doing less than a week. Lots of stuff is unfinished. The game isn't finished, obviously. This is like early alpha. It's got to the point where there's enough stuff in the game for me to like let people test and, you know, try and find bugs or give suggestions or what feels right or wrong, so I can tweak things on people's feedback. And then as we go on, the different kinds of tests. So currently, one thing I don't care about people testing is like the balance of the game, the numbers I've just plucked out of thin air. Eventually, you know, people think, you know, this is a bit too much damage or too weak or too fast, too slow. That comes later. I just want people to give suggestions on what feels good and bad. And if it's to do with character movement, then obviously, and I don't mean animations, I mean like the actual character movement, then that's what I want. I can equip my stuff to the hotbar, move it around, right click to remove it from the hotbar. If I'm in game and I press the key for the button, it'll use it, and it goes. Now keep in mind, I'm not planning on having 0 bugs. There probably will be bugs. So I've had some bugs recently, one which I'm going to fix after this. My plan is to fix the spellbook. So for example, I haven't unlocked Fire Blast, but it says I have. And if I press unlock, it then actually unlocks it and I can cast. So I've made a like channel bar. I've also increased the enemy's XP by loads because I just wanted to basically level up and test that was working. And I also changed the death particles by accident from the actual death particles to be the death like tree particles. So I must have misnamed a prefab or something. So that's just a simple fix. That's me being silly. The point is, I can cast a spell, and when it's finished casting, it'll fire off the spell like Fire Blast, and then that works with other spells like, you know, the Ice Shard thing, which currently just deals damage, but it's going to apply a slow and stuff and do more than just that. I've got all my tier 1 spells working. They don't all do everything right, but it works. So like Rock Hurl, I can press on this guy, and this was probably the thing I was most proud of actually, is I'm making it so my spellcaster actually goes into the ground and brings up the rock which it throws, which I think is pretty cool. So when I like cast a spell on the enemy, it jumps into the ground below me and flies at the enemy. And then I've got my different augments. So for example, if I unlock this one, and then I can actually cast a spell on the floor as well as looking at the enemy, which is pretty cool. And then I've got like this one, which you can do it from further away. So like, is it here? That's still in range. This is still in range. There you go. See that? Oh, that one had the correct death particles. Maybe I didn't apply the prefab. I don't know. So something I sillily messed up there. And as you see, I leveled up, and my XP went to the next level. Like, it's now out of 120, and it's 20. I've just noticed the health and mana haven't gone up. That's quite interesting. And my mana's just stopped regenning. So yeah, there's bugs that I'm going to fix. There's always bugs. You add new features, you fix the bugs, and you add new features, and you get more bugs, but whatever. I also made a different kind of spell. So obviously we've got the channel and then fire. And I've also got the fire while channeling. Oh, I pressed the wrong spell. So if I press 4, it actually fires off the arcane missiles from the spellcaster while channeling. Like, the channel is the casting, which means that I can then, when I end up adding enemies properly attacking me, they can be like interrupts. So like if you get hit by certain spells, it interrupts channels. That'd be quite interesting to do. But currently that works like that. If they're already homing in and the thing dies, then they just go in that direction. Otherwise, they'll fly off and then fade out eventually, as you saw. Now, obviously, one benefit is I can actually, if I had arrows, I could fire and like cast spells. Casting spells is independent, which I think is pretty cool. Fire marking missiles. And I've made it so, for example, if I use... oh, my mana's gone up now. Oh, yeah, I feel like I just didn't call the update the UI thing when I, you know... So obviously the mana's working now that I've used something which costs mana, it's updated it, but... oh yeah, I've also added the cooldown UI, as you see down here, and I tried to not get through it. Like, if I drag it around, it still does the stuff, and I can move slots, and it still works. I could even if I what's my like longest spell cooldown? So if I go here and I like unequip the spell, wait a few seconds, go back, equip the spell, it's on the cool. You can't cheat the system by unequipping and re-equipping the spell. You can't like get rid of the cooldown. So I've tried to fix as much as I can and make it. People are gonna break it, I'm sure, but yeah. Now all these augments, I've done I'd say 3/4 of them. So for fire, I've done that bigger one and the arcing one. So if I fire it normally, I like to have it over here. It shoots off in a direction. If I have this one, it shoots off a bigger projectile in direction. Obviously, at the moment, it just scales up. If I have this augment, it arcs, which I probably should also, just like, you can get it over walls, for example, if you fired it. Now, obviously, the problem is right now, because of the force not being different, I should probably make it so that if I'm using the arcing grenade, I need to increase the force. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get it over things. But the point is, you can get it over things. Like that. I think it's pretty cool. Now the whole point in augments is to be like the same strength, just different, right? You choose them on your situation. There might be times where having this one is better, having it arcing. There might not always be. The augments are going to be cheap to unlock. But yeah, now this one's meant to apply damage over time, but I haven't actually got the damage over time system because it's not the simplest thing to add, because I want to be able to use the same class to apply damage over time and to apply slows and whatever else I have, maybe temporary armor reduction or whatever. So that is my plan over the next few days. I don't know how much more stuff I should add before releasing it. Because, for example, some stuff I still want to add. I want to add the NPCs and the vendors and the quest givers, like to actually add gameplay. The problem is, if I keep saying that, I'll add something new like that, and then I'll realize, oh, there's this other thing I want to add and I'll never get it tested. So I want to limit myself to how much more I add before releasing it. And then once I've released it, obviously I can add new content. So yeah, and I'm not going to keep the game public like forever while I'm going through production. There'll be a point where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do small waves of people when it gets later into production. But at the moment, it's not like there's any spoilers or any problems like with people testing it. I think it'd be quite nice to test it if people want to, which they do because people have asked me. So yeah, spellbook, equipment. I'm going to make this nicer. I want to make it so when you have armor and you change your armor, so I think I might have shown this, I'm not sure. So if I pick up my armor, obviously I've got really weird icons for them all, but if I equip the test helmet, obviously you can see it's here. You can actually equip stuff. Oh, I should probably make the error thing be time.unscaled, like delta unscale time, whatever, because I'm using time.delta time, and that gets paused when the game is paused, but you can use unscaled time to make it not. So yeah, I'll do that after this. So that's one thing to remember. So as you see, these have stats like max HP 15, strength 34, but they're just numbers. They're not actually getting added onto here or anything, because I am remaking the stat system, because the way I had it worked, but it wasn't very good. It didn't really allow for much flexibility, and it was really awkward to do like temporary buffs and stuff, so I'm gonna have to redesign that, but it's fine. I can also equip my sword. Currently there's no animation for the sword, it's just the same animation, which it's not too bad, but it looks a bit odd. As you can see, strafing to the left looks a bit silly. Strafing to the right isn't that bad, but yeah. I need to make separate sword animations now. One thing I'm going to do soon, which one of my patrons asked for, I think, was to have like blend tree. So for example, you'll notice the legs use the exact same animation as the sword and the unarmed, but the top of the body uses a different tree, like for the animation with idle, equipping the bow, and then shooting the bow, which I can't do because I've got no arrows. But yeah, that works. Equip chest plate, helmet. If I equip a helmet and I've already got a helmet, it'll swap it, as you see. And I've also been working on the awkwardness of equipping different weapons, because I've got like two-handed weapons, one-handed weapons, offhand. So if I equip a sword, it puts it there, puts my two-handed there. In this other slot, it's a like one-handed like offhand shield. Now I haven't actually got the shield yet, but the point is it's just there in terms of the code and UI. So if I equip the shield, it equips it as an offhand to my basic sword. But then if I equip my bow, it unequips the shield, because obviously the shield offhand can't go with the two-handed bow. And if I equip the shield, it'll unequip the bow. but it won't do it if I equip a sword. So I feel like I've got all the logic working there, right? It seems to work. I haven't found any way of breaking that yet, but for some reason I just have a feeling someone's going to find a way to break that, but that's the fun of it, right? The bestiary works, so as you kill stuff more, you unlock more data about it. So at the moment, I think I have it so the first time you kill it, you unlock its picture, and then the like third time you kill it, you unlock its name, and so on. I can tweak that for different enemies. So for example, bosses, I'll have all the information after one kill of a boss, unless it's like a mini boss that respawns. If it's like a proper boss, then it'll be a one-time thing. So I'm allowed to tweak that. This system's completely in place. I just need to add data of things. So for example, the capsule dude shouldn't have this icon. It's just a random spell icon that I reused. Quest system and map is still to come. Map could be simply just me putting the map there, but most games don't actually have a top-down camera as their mini-map. Most games have a drawn map and like little dots and stuff to show enemies and whatever, and an arrow to show the player, and then you can indicate quests, because obviously I'm going to have quests here. I also added hold control to like release the cursor, so you can move your stuff on your hotbar mid-combat, and then eventually when I have quests you can hold control and then like click your quest to select the current one or whatever you want to do. So there's plenty to do. Now just quickly, I don't really have that much time to just like go through all the code, and obviously I'm not going to go through it all anyway, but there's one thing I want to fix. If I go to like the error pop-up thing, I can go to where it broke it on the pause. So here we go. This loop is adding time.delta time, which freezes on the pause menu because the time scale is 0. So I can say unscaled delta time, and that will fix that bug. And if I go to my scenes test scene, just let it load, save the code. If I go to one of my enemies, for some reason, which one was it with the... Yeah, for some reason, this guy has the wrong particles. If I just click apply on this one, it doesn't appear to... that's odd. It's not applying it to... Oh well, enemy death particles fixed. Okay, they're all part of the same prefab, so I don't know why that was not working, but hey, that's fixed. Was there any other like simple bugs that I could fix? I'm trying to remember now. I don't think that's 2 simple things fixed. So just from doing a video like this, I managed to actually make progress, which is quite nice. I can also run the game from the test scene. The only disadvantage to running it from here is it doesn't clear my inventory and like load a new game. So all my stuff's the same here, which is good apart from the weapon equipping. I haven't got to physically equip my weapons on a startup. It doesn't read my current equipment and load that. I should add that actually, that's quite simple to do. But yeah, now if I try and cast a spell when it's on cooldown. Oh, what's going on there? Oh wait, there we go. So that still times out now, it actually fades out. That allows me to add like menu errors. So if I, for example, try and unlock a spell, I don't have enough spell points, it could say not enough, or maybe I could just disable the button, whatever I want. And I've also been working really hard on making it work on multiple resolutions. So if you have a 3x2, it still works. You have a 4x3, it still works. Go through all the different things, it all works. Obviously, you get more squished, but you can't help that. The point is, it still works, even if you have like a 4x3 monitor, or even a 5x3. I don't know who uses monitors like this anymore, but the point is it supports that. So if you're on like a really old computer, well, an old monitor, it still works. It looks bad, but it still works. And I've just realized that is scaled long, and that's like that stretches and that doesn't. So I'll look into that as well. So yeah, I think I've covered everything that I want to cover. You can still read everything. You can still go through and unlock all your spells. So there's all my tier 1 spells that I've got. So that fires that off. That does the knockback. I can take this one. Knocks up instead, so I can fire my gust and it does a knock up instead. Pushes away from me, so rather than the point of impact, it'll knock away from me no matter what. So if I hit it on the side, it'll just knock it away from me. Apparently not very much. I might need to tweak certain numbers. And then towards me, so that should pull towards me. No? Don't know what. Did I select it? Whoops. Pushes towards me. Actually pushed away. Hey, well, see, little things I need to fix. But anyway, oh, the settings doesn't look great if you are on this resolution, but it works. Let's put it back and end. Also, yeah, exit and put that back. So yeah, I hope you found this interesting, and I hope quite a few of you are wanting to test the game in the next few days, so just stay tuned, join the Discord. I put it on my channel as well, probably. I'll link it somewhere. Just stay tuned if you want to try that. And I'll get back to like the normal standard tutorials in the next few days. Well, starting tomorrow. So, because I've got nothing to do tomorrow particularly, so I'm not going out anywhere. I can record a video, it's all good. So yeah, apart from that, thanks for watching and goodbye.